Hi folks, and welcome to this week's Modern Learning Tip of the Week. This week I'm going to be talking to you about an add-on that we can use in Google Sheets in order to make reading a Google Sheet a little more easy. So a lot of us are using Google Forms now to collect data from students and maybe even collect or create quizzes with students as well. But sometimes when all that data comes in, it's a little bit hard to read. So in a particular Google Sheet that I'm in right now, as you can see, this would be very difficult to read if I was just trying to go through all of the responses that are in here. So instead of doing this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use an add-on in Google Sheets, and this add-on, I'll have a link to the add-on in the email as well as in the bottom of this video. But you can also just go in any Google Sheet, click on add-ons, and then you are going to say get add-ons. And what you're going to do is you're going to be searching for an add-on that's called Save as Doc. And then when you see that, you'll see Save as Doc is here. Mine says Manage because I've already added it, but for you, you'll see a little free button that looks like this, and click on the free button and you'll have to accept the permissions. And once you do that, you'll see that the add-ons will come up here. So this is that Save as Doc. So what I'm going to do in this Google Sheet is I'm going to highlight the data that I want to save in a Google Doc. So for example, let's say I just want to highlight this information here, and again, trying to read through this information would be sort of difficult. So I'll highlight this information because I don't need the timestamp, and maybe I don't need the other information that's off to the side. I'll click on Add-ons. I'll go to Save as Doc, and I'm going to click on Start. And now what's going to happen is it gives me some options, and I want to save the doc file, so I gotta give it a title. So maybe I'll just call this OSSLT Blitz 3 Responses. And I want to include the headings, because if I include the headings, that it gives me all the headings, because this was from a Google form. It'll help to keep things a little more organized. And I like to keep the heading location in the first row of the sheet, and then heading style 1. You can play around with those a little bit if you'd like to see what the differences are. But I also want to make sure that I add a page break after each row, so that each response comes in sort of as its own separate page. And once I'm done that, I just click on Save as Doc. And when I click on Save as Doc, it will generate the document and it will tell me that it's been successfully created, and I can open the doc. And now in my Google Docs, what I have is my OSSLT Blitz number 3 responses, and they're all in here in separate pages, which is a lot easier to read. And you can see that again, these are all the headings, and the responses are there. And then after the name, then again, it put that page break in, and then it starts to the next response and goes on and creates the next response. So all of the stuff is there for us, but it's a lot easier to read. And again, it ends up being sort of 44 pages, but again, it took all of the data from this Google Sheet, put it into a Google Doc, which is a lot easier to read. And even if you needed to, say, print out some of these responses, you have the ability to do that as well. So it's a great little add-on for Google Sheets to make things a little easier to read. Hopefully this tip is helpful for you. As always, let me know if you have any questions, and we'll see you next week.